thank you for joining us today for the Chesterfield County Domestic Violence Task Force 8th Annual Go Purple event. My name is Tana Mooney, and I am the board chair for the task force. If you are joining us on Facebook Live, please know that the chat feature is being monitored for comments or questions. So if you have any, please feel free to drop them in the chat box. October is widely known as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This nationwide recognition started in 1987 and continues today as an opportunity to bring domestic violence to the forefront, advocate for change, lift the voices of survivors, and mourn those who have tragically lost their lives to domestic violence. The Chesterfield County Domestic Violence Task Force is a coalition of unified professionals dedicated to providing leadership in addressing domestic violence in our community. Our goals are to support initiatives and services that promote victim safety and offender accountability, to connect members to resources that aid in preventing and addressing domestic violence, and to promote safety, justice, and healing for those already affected by domestic violence. Our task force also monitors and administers the Carolyn Miller Memorial Fund. This fund is a financial resource available to individuals who need assistance in escaping situations of intimate partner violence. The intention of this fund is to aid survivors and their children in increasing safety and progress towards independence. The Carolyn Miller Memorial Fund was created through a partnership with the family and friends of Carolyn Miller, who was killed by her abusive partner in her Midlothian home in December of 2000. All proceeds of the Carolyn Miller Memorial Fund are directly returned to our community by assisting survivors with needs such as housing, safety measures, which could be changing or reprogramming of door locks, cameras, or other home security needs, transportation, or utilities. Today's program will include our guest speaker, the announcement of our nominees and the winner of the 6th Annual Outstanding Service Award, and finally, how you can support survivors through the Chesterfield County Domestic Violence Task Force initiatives. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce you to our guest speaker. Please welcome Christy to the podium.
Thank you, Tana. Dumb, stupid, Yankee, ignorant, fat, lazy, worthless. If any of those words were said to you, to me, you'd let them know that was unacceptable, as we most all would. So why did I allow those words in my life? Oftentimes, we don't realize how powerful words are. They're so powerful. They can break down a person. They can put holes in their foundation. Verbal abuse can be kept hidden at home, under the wraps of a house, behind closed doors. You just never know. You never really know what someone is going through in their life, in their house, in their family. No one really knew the true Jekyll and Hyde I was married to. I didn't really know myself how bad things were. To others that are out there that are unfamiliar with domestic violence and domestic abuse, that may sound strange and unbelievable, but it's real. It's absolutely real. And as a victim, you make excuses. I made excuses. Oh, he's tired. He didn't get much sleep last night. He's drunk. I pushed his buttons by asking him where he was at 3 a.m. last night. I was committed to my marriage. I was committed. I was in love. I was going to make it work, because that's what I do. Then things turned dark, and I started to look at things a little bit more different. When I got my black eye, it was a relief. Finally, my abuse was displayed on my face for others to see. And when people would ask me about it, I would make excuses. I would have to lie. There was few people that saw through that, and I could be honest, and it was a relief. It was the others that didn't see, that didn't ask. And it hurt more that they didn't ask. Don't you see me? Don't you see me? I have a black eye. I need help. Please help me. I didn't know what help I needed. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. For those that did see through that, and I could talk to them about it, there was relief. I had very little people to confide in because I was afraid of my abuser finding out. That would just make things worse, and that was absolutely scary. I had a best friend tell me, "You'll take it until you won't take it anymore." And those words really held with me, stayed with me and helped me. Like I said, I didn't have the knowledge of what was really going on in my life, how bad things were, where to go, who to ask for help. I had no clue of the wealth of resources that Chesterfield County had out there for me. I was fortunate enough to have a friend that was looking out for me, who got me in touch with a social worker, Tana, who explained things to me, which was very eye-opening, also very overwhelming. The word protective order came into play, which was absolutely scary and terrifying. I didn't know what to do, where to go. After that black eye, it was like everything happened 1 month after 1 month, another incident, and it progressively got worse. It was clockwork. Next month, something else happened. I know what it feels like. The grass on the side of the road of a highway, it's actually quite sharp, and it leaves marks. I remember that more than I remember the hands on my neck holding me down. It wasn't until December when I felt the closed fist of a man hit me over and over and over again in front of our children. That fear was terrifying. And it was at that point that I said to myself, I'm not going to take it anymore. To the person that's out there that needs encouragement, know that you are full of worth, that you are loved, and you are strong. And above else, you deserve to be safe. Luckily enough, that social worker got me in touch with a therapist, Kim, who educated me on what was going on in my life. It began the healing process. The types of abuse that were out there. I had never even heard of financial abuse before. It's a thing. And when I couldn't do the heavy lifting myself, I was introduced to a detective, Detective Frazier. And he did the heavy lifting for me because I couldn't do it myself. Because the law is on the side of a victim. We're protected. We want to be saved. And when I had to go to court and relive those dark days, I had my therapist out there supporting me. I had an advocate, Victoria, out there supporting me. And when I had to go to domestic relations court, I had another advocate, Emily. The support of the county was there for me. Living in an abusive relationship is very isolating. You can't really confide in people. You don't want to tell people. You're embarrassed. You distance yourself from relatives, from friends. And without the resources of Chesterfield County and the amazing people and the friends and family that I welcome back in my life, I wouldn't be standing here before you. I wouldn't be standing here telling you my story, trying to reach someone else to let them know that they are full of worth, that they deserve to be safe. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Claude. I'm a senior probation officer with Community Corrections and the treasurer of the Domestic Violence Task Force. The 6th annual Chesterfield Domestic Violence Task Force Award recognizes individuals for exemplary efforts and who have gone above and beyond to address domestic violence. The nominees are Star Miles, Lexis Stevens, Quentin Thomas, Kim Olmert. I will review the nomination of one in particular. This nominee works in a hospital-based violence intervention program at a level 1 trauma center. She works with patients from admissions all the way to follow-up in the community. She works with sexual and domestic violence, human trafficking, and sometimes with community violence cases. This means she starts in crisis response in the emergency department and follows them through the recovery from trauma surgery. A level 1 trauma center brings patients mostly severely injured due to gunshots, stabbing, and other trauma injuries. This means they often stay in the hospital for a while or have significant changes in their body's mobility and health status that has to be adjusted, along with the aftermath of domestic violence. The nominee helps patients both deal with the impact of intentional violence, as well as adjusting to healthcare recovery and changes that impact them. Whether someone has lost an eye from a stabbing wound, has a severe head injury, and that may have cognitive changes, or shooting injuries that resulted in permanent or temporary health status. This is daunting to a responder, as usually patients end up having one person at the hospital and then another in the community. Having someone who follows them from the hospital to the community keeps context of what happened and a consistent understanding of patients' needs and their barriers. This nominee is amazing in her response to patients and keeps empathy through the whole response, understands trauma and injuries and the healing process. She lives in Chesterfield and is the hospital's go-to advocate for Chesterfield patients in particular. She can help them figure out which program can provide what they need in terms of DV and go to court for people if needed, and understands the additional barriers residents who live in more rural areas of Chesterfield may face. Her experience across multiple areas of injury and violence lends her additional expertise in DV and can be linked to community violence and other types of violence and injury. I would like to present the 6th annual Chesterfield Domestic Violence Outstanding Service Award to Star Miles. There you go.
Thank you so much.
And I would like to give you one of these as well. So in addition to her receiving a plaque, she will be receiving a Starbucks gift card, Cinema Cafe tickets, and some Chesterfield domestic violence swag. Thank you so much. And the additional nominees will receive certificates of recognition, gift cards to Starbucks as well. They will receive the Cinema Cafe tickets and Chesterfield domestic violence swag also. And throughout the month of October, all of the nominees will be featured on our domestic violence Facebook page. Thank you.
All right. Hello, I am Rebecca Lint. I am the secretary of the Chesterfield Domestic Violence Task Force. Thank you all so much for being here with us today, and thank you for joining us on the live stream as well. As we enter October, we will highlight and remember the importance of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Each October, advocates across the nation band together to help support the victims of domestic violence. We hold offenders accountable for their actions and their behaviors, and we bring an awareness to domestic violence to end domestic violence. So what exactly is domestic violence? Domestic violence is also called intimate partner violence. It's called relationship violence, domestic abuse. This is a pattern of behaviors that one partner uses to maintain power and control over their other partner. Domestic violence includes behaviors that physically harm, causes fear, prevents a partner from doing something that they wish to do, or forces their partner to do something that they wish not to do. It's likely that you know somebody who is or has been affected by domestic violence. Locally in Chesterfield County, just last year, the Chesterfield Police Department responded to 8,477 calls for domestic violence for service. These calls resulted in 1,135 arrests. 450 domestic violence offenders were placed on local probation supervision. And the Chesterfield Domestic and Sexual Violence Resource Center assisted 733 victims. These statistics are staggering, and they only happen right here in our backyard in Chesterfield County. So you may be wondering what you can do to show your support. If you know someone who discloses to you that they are in an unhealthy or in a violent relationship, you can help by letting them know that you believe them. Be there for them. Acknowledge their situation. Acknowledge the courage and bravery it took for them to open up to you about what they're going through and what they're experiencing. Be supportive. Listen to them. Have that space available for them to come to you and to talk to you about what's going on. It's important that we withhold judgment and that we withhold pressure. We want to refrain from giving advice. We're just there to listen and to provide support. We want to express concerns for that person's safety and the well-being of everybody involved. We want to help that individual develop a safety plan, help get them some resources to help them to get out of a dangerous situation. And then we want to honor whatever decision that person makes for themselves, because we don't know the entire story. We don't know everything that's going on. But we want to encourage them to participate in activities outside of the relationship and share resource information and ask, how can I help? These supportive actions that you take can make a life-saving difference in the lives of those affected by domestic violence. We also invite you to help support the Chesterfield Domestic Violence Task Force. As Tana mentioned at the start of our event, we oversee the Carolyn Miller Memorial Fund. 100% of the proceeds that are donated to the Carolyn Miller Memorial Fund are then used to help survivors of domestic violence flee to or from Chesterfield County. Last year, the Carolyn Miller Memorial Fund granted nearly $5,000 to survivors to leave their domestic violence situations. So if you feel called to do so, you are welcome to donate using the QR code that will appear at the end of the live stream. We also are inviting you all to participate and join us and support our task force at upcoming events throughout the month of October. So the first one is 3 days from now, this Thursday, October 3rd. We invite you to join us at Westchester Commons. They have a Westchester concert series, and this Thursday is Innovation. The doors open at 5:00 p.m. It's free to attend, so it's a lot of fun. And then a portion of the proceeds from drink sales will then go back to the Chesterfield Domestic Violence Task Force, so then we can then help some survivors flee to or from Chesterfield County. BV Designs will also have a booth located within the concert, and they're going to be offering permanent jewelry. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, you can come to that booth and get some permanent jewelry. And then 10% of the proceeds from those sales that evening are also going to be donated to the Chesterfield Domestic Violence Task Force. And then you may be wondering, are you looking for a reason to eat out, to dine out? Because I'm always looking for a reason to dine out, okay? So every Monday in October, Sedona Tap House is hosting us, and we are their charity for their Dine Out for Charity event. And it's the one in Westchester Commons. And so for every, they'll be donating $1 for each qualifying entree. So there's certain entrees that qualify for the donations. And so that's every Monday in October. So good reason to dine out. Good food at a discount, and then proceeds to the Chesterfield Domestic Violence Task Force. Other ways that you can support the task force include our Kroger Community Rewards Program. If you just log into your Kroger account, you can designate the Chesterfield Domestic Violence Task Force as your charity of choice. And then every time you swipe your rewards card, you will, or Kroger will donate to the task force at no cost to you. So that's part of their rewards program. And then we also collect cell phones, smart devices at every single Chesterfield County Library branch. So if you have an old smartphone that you weren't able to turn in when you get your new smartphone, you can donate it in one of the boxes at one of the libraries here in Chesterfield County. We also have collection bins at the Lane Ramsey Administration Building and at the Community Development Building as well. And then we recycle those, or we give them to victims of, so either one, and then that's really helping our community as well. And then lastly, we just remind you to please like and follow our Facebook page. As Tana and Melissa mentioned, we are going to be showing pictures of everybody wearing their purple in the month of October. And so we invite you to take a picture, send it in, and then we'll post a picture of you on our Facebook page. So in closing, we want to thank Joanna Hartslick Photography for donating a family mini photo session valued at $300 to today's speaker, along with Cinema Cafe for donating 5 pairs of tickets for our nominees. And we also want to thank each person who was nominated for the Outstanding Service Award, and for just going above and beyond for assisting others. We thank you so much for all the hard work that you're doing. And we want to thank you, our viewers, both in person and on our live stream, for watching and supporting our 8th annual Go Purple event and taking action to end domestic violence. So thank you so much for watching. This concludes the live stream portion of our program today.